let's talk about it. Kevin McCarthy has appeared to lose the second Speaker of the House vote because the Republicans are wilding out. They have a slim majority, as we talked about yesterday in Congress. Okay. And there's just like 5 of them that just refuse to give him.
Of continuing to try to wait out the other side won't have changed. And I think Heidi's point, Senator Heitkamp's point, is a terrific one. The test.
They just basically are refusing to allow Kevin McCarthy to become the Speaker of the House, which I think is really funny. Some Democrats might not show up for future rounds, I'm told by several sources. Some are just bored by the House GOP drama. Others think it's better than voting president. For now, it's a wait-and-see mode. What's happening is some are gaming out what a missed vote or present vote would mean for the threshold and ending the chaos, all while wanting to stay on Representative Jeffrey's good side. No one wants to break ranks, but many don't want to be here all day. Congressional Democrats, you have one job today. No one cares if you're bored. Yeah, you tell them, Mark. You tell them, Mark Yizaguirre. I mean, it's pretty funny, though, because it's like, dog, you do have one job. Like, he's right. I mean, this is like a lib, but he is right. Like welcome to living in the real world. You know what I mean? You think motherfuckers like their jobs? No, they're bored all the time. Like, people are bored at their jobs all the time. Hello? Welcome to the fucking real world, asshole. And they don't even have the platinum healthcare package that you have.
Or Sunday's my birthday.
Half of my chat is bored at work and secretly listening to me while they make it seem like they're working hard, okay? He just said, oh, man, we're bored at work, dude. Oh, fuck. A unique proposition that, of course, is so interesting. It's never happened to anyone before. Bro, giving away the game. Listen, bro, it's because I also worked an office job. So I know. Chef Bubble, thank you for the 5-2-1 gift the subs. I know how this shit works. You just fake it. Anyway, here is Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's also disappointed at what's going on. Let's take a look at what she had to say. Okay.
We have been negotiating, talking, debating back and forth in our conference, trying to come.
One of the funniest parts about this, of course, is the reality that, like, they don't even have any real demands, okay? Trigger warning, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sorry about that. Marjorie Titan Green. But, like, they don't really have any fucking demands, okay? So what are they supposed to do? If they don't have demands, like, it's just like there's nothing you can... There's not really you can do anything in this situation. Like, pretty obvious that they just are doing what Republicans always do, right? Like, they're just kind of obstructing, but they're obstructing and they're doing Republican shit to the Republican Party.
To a really good rules package, and it's amazing. As a matter of fact, I'll quote Matt Gaetz. He said it's exquisite. That's what he said on our conference call on Sunday. But in that conference meeting there, we found out that there were several members, 3 in fact, that went in last night and were demanding positions for themselves.
What's awesome. Dude, that's fire. They're like, nope, we're not. You need my vote. You need to put me on, like, the energy committee, okay? You just have to do that. This could break in all sorts of unpredictable ways. They should absolutely show up. Insane they're thinking of leaving. Laziest caucus of all time, Lamau. Yeah, I mean, that is wild. Can you imagine a fucking Democratic Speaker of the House? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, it could be cool. Also, remember, there is no constitutional rule that dictates that the Speaker of the House has to be a fucking, seated congressperson. Like, you could literally have anyone become the Speaker of the House. You could vote for straight up anyone, okay? Which is pretty funny. I love that. I love that concept. Just have fun with it. Who cares? Make Juan Guaido the fucking Speaker of the House. You know what I mean? No rules, baby. Matt Gaetz nominates Jim Jordan and takes a shot at Kevin McCarthy in the process. Love that.
Sometimes we have to do jobs that we don't really want to do. And sometimes we have to do jobs that we are called to do. And so my colleagues I rise to nominate the most talented, hardest working member.
Okay, the dick riding goes crazy in Congress, dude. Dude, he's right behind you. Vote for him. He's right there. He's looking at you, okay? Representative Clay Higgins, that's right. Nominate him, bro. What the fuck? He's right there. He'll bring a pistol to Congress, okay? He'll have like that revolver belt and shit. He'll run around being like, hey, you unfaithful Jebediah, understand one thing. Not in my house. This is the people's house. And I will do everything in my power to make sure the people's voices are heard.
Take the time
you woke non-binary libtards in your woke sky will see the wrath of Representative Clay Higgins. I'm just saying, dude. He's right there.
Of the Republican conference, who just gave a speech with more vision than we have ever heard from the alternative. I'm nominating Jim Jordan.
That's fucked up. Clay Higgins is right there.
Jim Jordan is humble.
Yeah, I wonder why Matt Gaetz wants Jim Jordan to be the fucking Speaker of the House so Jim Jordan can do what he does best, okay? Serve you the top of the hour ad break. No, of course not, but at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free. Now, Jim Jordan is not going to do that, obviously. What Jim Jordan is going to do is, actually, you know what? I'll fucking tell you. I'll tell you inside of the ad break. A secret for all the brokies who don't have $5 or a Twitch Prime to use on the broadcast. Let me up. Thank you for the 5 get the subs. Or who aren't lucky enough to get gifted a sub by Lenny Up or others. By Bobby Gloves. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Okay. So what I was going to say is Matt Gaetz wants Jim Jordan to be he wants Jim Jordan to be the Speaker of the House because, you know, Jim Jordan does one thing very well, okay, and that is cover up and turn a blind eye to, like, abuse, sexual abuse, and sexual assault and things of that nature. So maybe that's the reason why Matt Gaetz is like, please, Jim Jordan, please, 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 please become the Speaker of the House, you know? Sakura Gore, thank you for the 5 subs as well.
Take care of yourself, hassle.
Well, sometimes we have to do
AOC getting heated with Matt Gaetz.
Happy 2023.
Okay, I thought we were going to be able to hear it. None of this matters, but it's nice to see chuds arguing amongst themselves again. Yeah, it makes me very happy to see this. The Chip Roy and the members of the Freedom Caucus, get on board and let's do our damn job. Enough of the crap.
We can't do that until we elect a speaker. So to Chip Roy and the members of the Freedom Caucus, get on board and let's do our damn jobs and enough of the crap.
Love that. I love seeing that. You love to see it, folks. A little bit of infighting, you know?
So to Chip Roy and the members of the Freedom Caucus, get on board and let's do our damn job.
Official second ballot results have come in. Hakeem Jeffries had 212 votes, obviously Democratic Party votes. Kevbin McCarthy had 203. Jim Jordan is at 19. No one gets the 218 necessary, and a third ballot is soon. Big L's overall. Love to see it, folks. Love to see it. I mean, look, this is the best kind of like congressional ineptitude because it's so transparently the Republican Party's problem. This is unironically what the Democratic Party went through with like Kyrsten Sinema and oh my God, my brain is so fucking broken, dude. Holy shit. With Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, right? This is something that normies absolutely despise. They hate it. They hate looking at politics and looking at politicians not doing a job. They hate gridlock. They hate not actually being able to pass legislation. What do I always tell you? I tell you, one of the main fucking components is like passing legislation fast, okay? Doesn't matter how shitty it is. Doesn't matter if you don't get like everything you wanted. As long as you fucking ram that shit through and you get it passed, people are going to be happy about it, okay? People are going to be like, oh yeah, they're doing a job.
5 months
One of the worst things you can do, which was a big Obamacare L, is hold up legislation specifically to try to concede to the other side and like come up with the best possible legislation you could. And in that entire process, you're basically signaling to the Normans, okay, that are in the margins, to the Normans who are like maybe apolitical or whatever, that you don't have a good grasp on anything. And also on top of that, you're giving your enemy, the Republican Party, just a major amount of time and space to shit on the fucking policy. Okay? And that's exactly what happened during Obamacare, where they basically said that Obamacare had death panels and all this shit, and you can taint and tarnish the reputation of legislation, no matter how good that legislation might be for the broader public. And right now, that's basically happening for the Republican Party. There's no legislation, but like there's not really any sort of agenda. There's not really any sort of agenda here, okay? But basically what's happening is, they're just looking like fucking losers.
Have come into our country illegal, and this president won't even admit it's a problem. Last year alone, we lost over 100,000 young people to deaths from drugs like fentanyl because we have an open southern border. Everybody should be appalled by that stat. The fact that more than 100 of our youngest, best and brightest kids are dead in America because of the fentanyl coming across of our open southern.
Yeah, totally. That's where it's coming from. Except, like, it's not coming over the border, dumbass. It's coming over through regular ports of entry. So maybe we should fucking control that a little bit better.
Until either the president takes action, which he won't, or we pass legislation on the floor to fix those problems. But that doesn't start until we elect Kevbin McCarthy as our speaker. We know what the challenges are. We've laid out solutions to these problems. It's sad to say these aren't problems that are very hard to fix because we weren't in this situation just a few years ago. But if the administration doesn't want to fix these problems, people call on us to do that. And it starts here in the people's house. Let's rise to this challenge. Let's meet the challenges that the American people sent all of us, not just the Republicans, not just the Democrats, but all 434, soon to be 435 of us. We can meet those challenges, but let's start by electing Kevbin McCarthy as our next speaker. I yield back.
This is fire. Actually fire. I love this so much.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California rise?
Do you think the fentanyl scare tactics are intended to take the blame out to Sackler family? No, it's just the way to fear monger about immigrants.
For unity in Congress and progress in our country, Democrats are united behind Hakeem Jeffries. I recommend Hakeem Jeffries as our speaker. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
It sucks because, like, I despise Hakeem Jeffries so much, okay? Obviously because, I hate to see a black man thrive. That's what it is, because I'm a racist, and not because he is, like, the worst kind of neoliberal shill who has shown open disdain for the progressive wing of the party.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Place a name and a nomination, Speaker.
The gentleman is recognized.
So this is what the chamber looks like when we're actually debating and the bodies are in the chairs. How many times have we been down here giving speeches and there's not a soul in the chamber? Yet this is what it takes to get 435 people in the chamber. And have an actual debate.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it. They're all doing their own fucking West Wing speeches.
And that's a good thing. What we're doing is exercising our rights to vote and have a debate and have a discussion about the future of this country through the decision of choosing a speaker. This is not personal. It's not. This is about the future of the country. This is about the direction of the country. American people who are looking at this body and wondering why we can pass $1.7 trillion bills that are unpaid for. They can just slide in $45 billion for Ukraine but not pay for it. $40 billion for emergency spending and not pay for it. 10% increase in defense spending, 6% increase in non-defense spending and not pay for it. And not do a thing except put language in a bill that prohibits our ability to use the money to secure the border. Get rammed
dude, can you imagine being this passionate about healthcare? Like, God, this is the worst country on the planet, dude. Literally the worst country. We are such fucking scumbags, dude. We are so bad as a nation. We deserve less. We do. We don't have anything anyway, but like we deserve even less than what we have. Look at our fucking elected representatives, dog. We are never getting health care, bro.
Sends it to the floor, and we have no debate on the floor of this body. We haven't been able to offer an amendment on the floor of this body.
He said he's border Sanders. What this nation needs is a stronger border. Fuck the health care. Poor people should be melted into biofuel.
Adopting rules and procedures that will make us actually do our job, or it comes from. And people ask me, what do you want? I want the tools or I want the leadership to stop the swamp from running over the average American every single day. We can't keep doing this. I'm going to sit here until we figure out how to stop spending money we don't have. I don't want any more empty promises. I don't want any more, oh, don't worry, trust us, we'll do it. I want to know that we're going to be able to exercise our rights as a member of this body to stand up for the American people and actually fix this country. And it's not going to happen when we use our men and women in uniform in defense and wrap ourselves around that and then spend more money that we don't have, weakening that defense, weakening our country in the process. But that's what we just did. Ladies and gentlemen, I am asking for us to come together and figure out how to solve these problems.
Like people, the idea that like we're giving so much money to Ukraine and not to our own borders is such a dumb one, because like Republicans are on board with giving money to Ukraine. Hey, dumbass, like they have like naval bases in their own districts. They have like defense spending that is going to benefit their own constituents. So they're like, shut the fuck up, okay? Like, yeah, sure. It's only like a few people that don't, I guess, have some kind of constituency that benefits, like whatever, like the military industrial complex is like getting money, they benefit from it. So they're the ones who are chirping about like border security. But like ultimately, it's everybody loves that shit. Everybody eats it up. That's why there's bipartisan unity when it comes to that. He did attempt to address both sides. No, he didn't. What the fuck are you talking about? He literally said, why are we giving billions of dollars to Ukraine and not the border? That's not a both sides situation. That's like a made up problem.
Adams. Adams. Jeffries. Adderholt. McCarthy. Aguilar. Jeffries. Alford.
Would I be happy if Hakeem Jeffries became speaker? I mean, it'd be really funny. So, like, that's good. If you were speaker, would you stream it? Yeah. Who would be the funniest speaker? Clay Higgins. Clay, unfaithful Jebediah Higgins. Or Donald Trump. Donald Trump would be pretty good too. Donald Trump would be a pretty funny one. But like I said, Clay Higgins, Donald Trump, I don't know. I mean, you could have like pretty much anyone be the speaker, so it doesn't really matter. But like as far as like, you know, people that are currently in that room, I think Clay Higgins will be great. George Santos could be really funny. Yeah, George Santos is a good one. Let's get Herschel in there. Oh, let's watch what Fox News is saying right now. I want to see what the fuck they're saying because they're pissed.
McCarthy by name on the floor. There were 19 votes against him by name for somebody else, Andy Biggs and Byron Donalds and a couple of others.
They're
on the first
pissed.
vote. All 19 of those members then went to Jim Jordan. Now, as we went to the third vote here, it was a question as to whether or not they would place somebody else's name in nomination for the third vote. And that's exactly what Chip Roy, the Republican from Texas, did. Again, Jim Jordan. So this is where we are. This is the third vote. They will go through the list alphabetically. And the rule is they have to keep voting until they get a speaker. Now, we should watch this time if there is any attrition from the number of votes that Jim Jordan got. That's something to keep in mind. Whether or not they go to a fourth vote, whether or not they might have a recess and actually have people go back and start to horse trade and things. But again, the universe of people, we have three names in nomination. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat from
Alex
Brooklyn,
Jones would be
who
goated.
got more votes than Kevin McCarthy on the last vote there. The vote was 212 for Jeffries, 203 for Kevin McCarthy, and 19 for Jim Jordan. And I want to go to something here. So Matt Gaetz is a Republican from Florida who nominated Jim Jordan the last time. Now, I am told that if you are nominated, you cannot withdraw your name. This is unprecedented in House history. And if somebody puts your name in nomination, it's there, even if you don't want the job. Jim Jordan does not want the job. But this is what Matt Gaetz said in his nominating speech a little bit ago. Listen.
I'm nominating Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan is humble, perhaps today humble to a fault. Maybe the right person for the job of Speaker of the House isn't someone who wants it so bad. Maybe the right person for the job of Speaker of the House isn't someone who has sold shares of themselves for more than a decade to get it.
So the key here is you can't beat somebody with nobody. This group of conservatives, they have somebody. They've apparently settled on Jim Jordan, Andy Biggs, who got several votes, the most votes besides Hakeem Jeffries and also Kevin McCarthy on the first round. He dropped out. So Jim Jordan is who they're kind of coalescing about. But again, it's still just enough votes to keep Kevin McCarthy from getting over that delta to become the Speaker of the House. Back to you.
You know, Chad, I'm noticing in the others column here, if you think about it, Kevin McCarthy can't lose more than 4 votes. In other words, 4 Republicans. At this stage, there are 3 others, and it is very likely he's en route to losing a third round here.
Why do they hate Kevin McCarthy? It's just, okay, you guys forgot, okay? It's because they're the Freedom Caucus. They don't even, I don't even think they hate Kevin McCarthy like that. It's just, it's more so about wanting to, basically obstruct. So the Freedom Caucus has been around for a while. Their entire purpose is to literally constantly say, like, we need a tighter budget. We need a tighter budget. Mostly just to, push for deregulation and tax cuts, but they're the small government the weirdos inside of the 4 others already. They are the small government weirdos that like basically stop every fucking bill from pushing through. They're basically like the Republicans inside of the Republican Party. Like the entire Republican strategy against the Democratic Party is obstruction, right? With like no real purpose. Well, that's pretty much the exact same thing for the Freedom Caucus. Like they're just doing more Republican shit against the Republicans. Gaetz asked AOC about McCarthy's claim that he had cut a deal with the Dems, which she categorically denies. Gozar asked AOC about the possibility of Dems supporting an adjournment motion, which she was non-committal. Oh, nice.
that if you go off somewhere or skip out on a vote, that lowers the total necessary, certainly for Kevin McCarthy. He needs half plus one, right?
Right. That's pretty Machiavellian. That's a page right out of the playbook from LBJ. He used to send senators off on trips and things when he didn't need their vote or didn't want them to vote on something, and then all of a sudden he would give them this plum assignment, and then lo and behold, they weren't there to vote on the key issue, and LBJ, when he was the Senate Majority Leader, would win the vote. Now, so far, we've not seen that level of calculus from Kevin McCarthy or anybody else, but this is where I've talked about this being the Stockholm Syndrome. They want people to stay near the chamber, wear them down, and after a while, maybe they start to agree with their captors. But again, how you get that group of 19 to move, and if there's
LeBron
any
James
attrition,
as speaker would
I've
be
been
fire.
told all afternoon that group of people is more emboldened than they were just a couple
La
of days
legislation.
ago. That group is bigger than we thought. We thought, there might be 10 to 12. We thought it might be 5 or 6. There were the 5 publicly who were against Kevin McCarthy, Matt Rosendale of Montana, and Ralph Norman from Georgia, a few others, South Carolina. We had a number of people who were saying there that, that was a smaller universe and it might creep a little bigger. 19 might be really hard to overcome. And this is the other point here. Kevin McCarthy did not have the votes to be Speaker to succeed John Boehner in 2015. Everybody thought it was a fait accompli. And the next thing you know, he didn't have the votes and he stepped away. And this is where we wound up with Paul Ryan, somebody who said he did not want to be Speaker of the House.
I'm looking at this. We're at the other 4. You can't afford, if you're Kevin McCarthy and want to get a chance at leading the House of Representatives, you can't get a single congressman or woman over that level. And yet he is on that brink. Now, we can go through this process again and again and again. It reminded me in the past, and you've done all the way back to 1856, it took 133 ballots before Nathaniel Banks, a Republican of Massachusetts, had secured the job. But nothing else could be done until that was settled. Could we be looking at something like that?
We don't know that it's going to take 2 months, but this is where the argument from the Republicans is going to be, we can't even constitute our committees. We can't start trying to cut spending. We can't start investigations into the Biden White House. We can't start working on energy prices.
I'm sorry,
Kevin McCarthy,
Chad, I'm interrupting you again. We're at 6 now, so he's failed to do it. Unless there are some Democrats who swing his way. Unlikely, as you pointed out. But go ahead, my friend. In other words, he has failed the 3rd vote. Kevin McCarthy will have to hope for a 4th vote. But go ahead.
Right. No, this is the parliamentary math in real time, that every time you see that number start to creep up above 4, you're going to another ballot. So probably in the next hour and a half here, they will go to that next ballot, 4th vote here for Speaker of the House. And we're starting to creep closer to that 9-vote tally that we had in 1923 to reelect Speaker Gillette. That took 3 days to work that out. But my earlier point was this, Neil, is that Republicans are going to start really hammering these 19, saying we can't do all the things that we promised our voters that we were going to do. None of that was going to happen. How many times did you hear from Republicans on the campaign trail saying, oh, we are going to, pass a bill to get rid of these 87,000 IRS agents that the Democrats wanted to hire? That's not going to happen today. That's already a broken campaign promise because they're not going to be able to put that bill on the floor. And this might portend danger for Republicans governing over the next couple of years because they only have a 4-seat majority. Are they going to be able to pluck off some Democrats when it goes to funding the government at the end of September, raising the debt ceiling, passing their run-of-the-mill, bill that they like, something on abortion that's important to Republicans, or if some conservatives try to impeach Alejandro
Hayden Ross is House Speaker.
They are just not going to have the votes. If you can't, peel off 19 people to vote for Speaker of the House, you're not going to be able to pass things with these narrow majorities. And whether you like Nancy Pelosi or not, that was her calling card for decades, passing big bills, winning these big votes with tight margins. And in the past 2 years, Chuck Schumer, the Democrat.
I don't think Hayden Ross, here is a, I guess, controversial hot take that's not so controversial when you think about it. I don't think Hayden Ross knows less about how American politics works than the average fucking congressperson. Straight up. Like, those motherfuckers are dumb as shit, bro. They're not, it's not like they're smart. Their staffers do most of the work.
from above the Vatican. There's no such signal here except the running count. But we do know that in that selection process, they go through several people. One person doesn't have enough votes. We're going to try again and see if he gets more votes, and on we go. What's the process here? Could you see, still early on, a little bit of shifting going on? We're going nowhere with Kevin. Scalise seems to be determined not to be considered for the job himself. So too Congressman Jordan. Where does this shifting and when does the shifting begin?
It probably would start tonight. And using your papal analogy there, you know, I would expect some sort of a conclave at some point. This is where Republicans would all get in a room, and this is what they did this morning, and talk, or at least go in and talk to these 19 and say, what can we, you know, offer here? Now, you had some moderate Republicans. You had people like Dusty Johnson from South Dakota. You had Stephanie Bice, Republican of Oklahoma. You know, they are a little bit more on the moderate strand of the Republican Party, and they claim that this group continues to move the goalposts. It also says this, and I asked them, and I also asked Kevin McCarthy this morning, if you continue to say, okay, we're going to get the votes, and he's been saying this since November, and you get right up to, you know, Election Day here, start of the Congress, January 3rd, and they don't have the votes, what does that say about Kevin McCarthy's viability to be Speaker of the House? And when it comes to be September to fund the government, or in the next couple of months raise the debt ceiling, how does he get
Jeffrey's got majority twice. Why isn't that enough?
Kevin
You need 218
McCarthy
votes,
has
brother.
never shown the
Doesn't
ability
matter.
to do this, and this is where I go back to the fall of 2015, when John Boehner stepped aside and we thought Kevin McCarthy was going to be Speaker, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. He did not have the votes then, and he may not have the votes now. Neil, what we are seeing right now in
it's
real
not
time
majority,
is that
sorry.
same-
You need 218. Jeffrey's only got plurality, not majority.
behind closed doors 7 years ago, it is now spilled out into the public view.
All right, thank you, my friend. And don't wander too far. I want to go to Aisha Hasti right now, our congressional correspondent, also on Capitol Hill. Aisha, we're learning that Republican Congressman from Florida, Byron Donalds, who had supported Kevin McCarthy on the first two votes, I believe, and Sam, correct me, my producer, if you can, he did vote for Congressman Jordan this go-round.
Jim Jordan.
Now, it's a little early here, but that's the kind of thing you look for, right? I mean, what are you learning?
I was actually just going to raise that point, and very smart of you to bring that up as well. I'm really curious as to what is happening now around Jim Jordan. Of course, he got about 19 votes in the second round. We'll wait and see and watch how many votes he gets this time around. But my question then becomes, Neil, will these Never McCarthy folks, right, the people who are anti-McCarthy, will they hold Jim Jordan to the same concessions that they have been putting forth to Kevin McCarthy? I think it's a fair question for Chip Roy or Matt Gaetz or whoever is voting against McCarthy, because they're nominating Jordan now without getting a deal that they were hoping to get with McCarthy.
I just like the chaos. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me if Jim Jordan is the fucking Speaker of the House.
The committee
it does not matter if it's fucking Matt Gaetz.
Et cetera,
you know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't matter.
That you haven't struck a deal with yet. So perhaps
ultimately,
later on tonight, as
ultimately it doesn't matter, because Republicans don't have an agenda. They do not have an agenda. They got nothing. Wait, what the fuck? Where is this? Oh, this is still... Like, whoever is the speaker is gonna, you know, launch a fuckload of investigations on Hunter Biden's cock. We all know that, which is gonna be super sweet because he's got a nice one, okay? Every American is gonna see it and go, oh, wow, what a nice cock he has, right? That's pretty much what's happening here. That's pretty much what they're going for. So, who gives a shit?
they want to get to work. And you heard him talk about that again when he nominated Kevin McCarthy. Some of those priorities, Neil,
218 is the vote, is the number of votes necessary.
Democrats approved for the IRS. It includes blocking any non-emergency drawdowns from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It includes creating a select committee on China, and it includes giving the Department of Homeland Security the power to turn away migrants at the border if they feel like the secretary doesn't have operational control. These are all priorities that Kevin McCarthy laid out in his Commitment to America plan. And again, they can only happen once the GOP elects a speaker. Of course, the opposing side would say they are doing exactly what Americans want them to do. This is the democratic process. And that's correct. This is the democratic process. This is the sausage making that we're all watching.
Yeah. You can win with less votes as long as there's less people. That too. Right now, they just need 218. But I personally don't know what will happen if they just can't vote for someone. What do I know? But it seems to me that some Democrats are taking a walk so McCarthy wins without having anything close to a majority support in the House would be throwing your opponent an anvil. House Democratic leadership sources told me they're working to keep everyone here as long as the House is voting for Speaker, and they believe they won't have a problem doing that. What do I know? But it seems to me that some Democrats are taking a walk so McCarthy wins without having anything close to a majority support in the House would be throwing your opponent an anvil. But if McCarthy is a speaker, they would still be in disarray. Nothing would be resolved. Nope. Drag it out. I disagree. I actually disagree with David Dan on this. No, drag it out. It looks good. Drag it out for as long as you can. Drag that shit out, dude. What the fuck? It just makes them look awful. This makes it look like they don't have their ducks in a row. They don't have their shit together. Hold the fucking line for once, goddammit.
I've been talking with staffers who are telling me this is insane. This is absolutely insane. At least the GOP staffers are saying that this is making them look like idiots. One staffer told me in front of the American people. So I don't think it's likely. I think again, people like Jim Jordan, Steve Scalise, those are names to watch. Chad kind of mentioned, taking us back to the last time McCarthy was up for his speakership bid, and then we saw obviously what happened. He didn't get it. Paul Ryan came in, a reluctant speaker. I think that's what we have to keep an eye on. Are we going to see a reluctant speaker once again lead the GOP conference?
You know, and we've seen reluctant leaders picked out of nowhere. I kept saying, and I didn't mean to joke, but just to mention how similar they were to the way cardinals who gather after a pope's death to select his successor. And that cardinal electors who entered the Sistine Chapel in March of 2013 to find a successor to John Paul II had 5 ballots over 2 days before they elected Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio, of course, who later went on to take the name Francis. I only mention that to say that, to me, it's weird how similar the process is. Movement and those who look
Ben
like
Shapiro is correct.
Who don't.
And it's awesome. McCarthy's job as speaker and the job of the GOP is to say no. Okay? Which, by the way, again, ew, gross. Like, the fact that he's smarter than this and admits it makes him more evil, I think, than the average Republican voter who's just stupid and don't understand that this is, like, literally their job. But he is right. That's it. Since Dems control the Senate and the White House, what is the actual policy advanced by stalling him here, other than hand Dems a PR win by depicting the House GOP as a clown show? Really, explain it to me. Who is the alternative who will lead Republicans to a brighter future? What is the policy objective sought? How are Americans helped? You don't have to be a McCarthy fan to ask a simple question. What is your actual plan here, you guys? It is. He's right. That is what's going on. Shut the fuck up, Ben. Luckily, nobody cares about your takes.
Doors, right? We don't get to see the chaos.
Except, like, imagine being so fucking callous at just saying, like, your job is to just say no. Really? Is that your job? Because I thought in theory your job was to, like, do good by your constituents. Your job is to just say no is literally just an admission that your job is obstructionist and you don't give a fuck about the constituents at all. I hate that. Anyway, let's here is Daniel Jebediah Crenshaw telling CNN that hardline Republicans who won't vote for Kevin McCarthy are enemies now.
Very clearly looking for notoriety over principle. That's what it is. And anyone who suggests differently is in some make-believe fantasy reality. It's not true. They lost those debates. That should have been the end of it, because that's how a team works, right? You hash this stuff out, you figure it out, and then you move on. But if you're a narcissist, and you believe that you're
a narcissist,
opinion is so much more important than everyone else's, then you'll keep going. And you'll threaten to tear down the team for the benefit of the Democrats, just because of your own sense of self-importance. That's exactly what's happening here. We will not vote for anyone else but McCarthy. These people think they're stubborn, we're more stubborn. They think they're not going to get the committees they want. Well, obviously they won't, but it's going to be so much worse than that. You know, they are enemies now. They have made it clear that they prefer a Democrat agenda than a Republican one.
But right now, those conservative hardliners are not going anywhere. They say.
I love it. McCarthy down a vote now. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy loses his first vote. Florida Representative Byron Donalds votes for Jordan. Let's go! Yo, it's so funny, dude. Oh, no. Yo, this could take months, okay? Which I'm so on board with. It's not like... Because understand that it's not like anything is going to happen. Like, if Kevin McCarthy becomes speaker, they're going to do obstruction. If Kevin McCarthy is not speaker, they're still going to do obstruction. If Jim Jordan becomes speaker, they're still going to literally block everything they can. So ultimately, like, it really doesn't matter. They could just, like, keep this going for as long as possible. I personally think it's cool that, like, you know, all these fucking pieces of shit are forced into this room now, and they have to sit around with their thumbs in their asses. You know what I mean?
Same boat. We need to find a solution. The conference, the Republican conference, elected Kevin McCarthy by an overwhelming majority, and we need to elect Kevin McCarthy as a speaker, and we need to move on with America's business, the business that America and Americans voted us to do, to reduce inflation, to take care of the energy crisis, to also to solve the crisis at the southern border, to stop the flow of fentanyl that's killing tens of thousands of Americans every single year. That's the business that we came here to do, not fight with each other. And it's really unfortunate that we have a small percentage of Republicans that really are, you know, stopping us from doing America's work right now.
You know, it's a fascinating process, and you mentioned that the 90% of Republicans who want Kevin McCarthy, unfortunately, to get to that 218, whether you're at 90% or not, and you're not there, you're not there. And to go back to my probably ridiculous analogy on conclaves and Cardinals gathering, I might point out that the original first vote for the man who ultimately became Pope Francis was that he had barely a dozen votes, and the front runner.
Oh my God, it keeps going back to the papacy, dude. Who gives a fuck? Shut up. Dude, oh my God, dude. This guy really loves the Pope. What the fuck? Yo, someone investigate. Check him PC, bro. What the fuck?
Republicans have been waiting years for this opportunity to take over the House. And so when the rest of the country looks at how Republicans are handling day one, they can't unite. They can't come together. It's day one, and they can't agree already.
Yeah, it's a shame. It makes us look foolish. If I didn't know any better, it's like the Democrats paid these people off. Hey, let's pay them off. Let's make it look like the Republicans can't govern and don't deserve any gavels whatsoever. That's what it makes it look like.
Wait. Stop. His little pout and his little outfit. He's so soft and tiny. I can't. We are going to baby girlify George Santos. Dude, our fucking goat, our king, George Santos. He's like, this is my first day in office. Ooh, not expect. Apparently he ran away. Apparently there was like an entire press pool, like an entire fucking gaggle of journalists waiting outside of his office to obviously interview him, to be like, what's up with your fucking campaign contributions, man? What's going on? And he ran away from them and like tucked away in a corner, and now he's just like sitting over there by himself. Aw. Here, this is how his day started, okay? Hold on.
your campaign, your constituents. Do you feel like you're qualified to serve in this Congress right now? How do you hope your constituents can trust you, even though that you've misrepresented your biography to them?
What's your response to calls for a House ethics investigation by Nicola Lota?
He's doing the virgin walk, dude.
Do you have any statements about your campaign and how you hope to govern? Do you hope to carry out your full term?
What can you say?
The only thing missing from this picture is he doesn't have a roller backpack, okay? It does make it pretty funny that he has like the double, he has the backpack and he put both of the straps on too, because instead of like a legal briefcase or whatever the fuck like Congress people normally use. But like it would be really funny if he had a roller backpack, like getting bullied. Why is everybody so mean to me? By the way, Brazil has reactivated the fraud case against fabulous Congressman-elect. Stop! No! No! Dude, he's about to get extradited. Republican is accused of using stolen checkbook and fake name at a shop outside of Rio de Janeiro in 2008. Come to Brazil! George Santos, come to Brazil! Brasil, caralho! Oh, no. Dude, look. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Guys, those glasses are fake, too. 100%. He don't even need glasses to see this motherfucker, bro. Stop. He's got those fake-ass frames, dude. He's the catch me if you can guy. Yeah, if the catch me if you can guy was whack as fuck.
So you'll do what you said you were going to do on the campaign trail, given the concerns that have come up about state. Yes, I am.
Mr. Santos, do you intend to serve both years of your term?
Do you plan to vote for Leader McCarthy today to be Speaker?
Can you tell us if you plan to serve both years of your term, Mr. Santos? Will you answer any question besides, will you support Leader McCarthy to be Speaker?
Not enough people are talking about how fun it is to lie. Yeah, but like, you know. I mean, it's funny. Who gives a shit? Fuck it, YOLO.
Your biography, about what you've told folks about your background? Republican leadership told you anything, Mr. Santos?
Is there anything that you would like to clear up or explain?
I bet he isn't Jewish. No, we know he's not. No. That one was already confirmed. Not only was that confirmed, but he literally said, well, I technically said I'm Jew-ish. You don't remember that? That was a lie already. That was like one of the first things that they found out. Like, he's not like a Ukrainian Jew at all. You know what I mean? And his parents did not like escape the Holocaust from what I understand. Like, that was just all... That was all made up.
About your biography or resume?
So what did he lie about? Literally everything.
Any questions that you...
Yes, I am.
Mr. Santos.
He said he's Jew adjacent. I don't know why he doesn't understand. Like, that sort of stuff is like funny. But what actually will get him cooked is campaign finance law violations. He was caught picking his nose. Oh, come on, dog. Really? That's not. No, he's not. I do that shit all the time, dude. Come on. I thought he was like. He got itchy. Like, you're crazy. Here's the clip on Fox saying he's Jewish. Oh, yeah, here.
The questions that really probably hits home to a lot of people is are you Jewish? We've got a letter that your campaign sent out earlier this year, which reads as follows.
That's disgusting, Hassan. You're sick. What do you mean? You don't have nose hairs? Your nose doesn't get fucking itchy sometimes? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, where you just like scratch the outside of your fucking nose hole?
As a proud American Jew, I've been to Israel numerous times for educational, business, and leisurely trips. You said there in that letter that you are, quote, a proud American Jew. How do you explain that?
My heritage is Jewish. I've always identified as Jewish. I was raised a practicing Catholic. I think I've gone through this. Even I've not being raised a practicing Jew. I've always joked with friends and circles, even in the campaign, I'd say, guys, I'm Jewish. Remember, I was raised Catholic.
Yeah, he literally said, oh God, he's so cool. He's so cool. I hope he becomes the next Speaker of the House.
Again, their demands are foolish. Their demands are inside baseball procedural issues. That's what they are. Their demands are things that the average American doesn't care about at all. The average American cares about defunding 87,000 IRS agents. That's actually what's going to be on the floor today if McCarthy gets 218, because then we can actually start doing business. That's the first bill we're going to vote on. You know what's going to be right up after that? It's going to be bills on border security. It's going to be bills on making our economy more resilient and reducing inflation. It's going to be the things that people actually care about, the things that they want, the things that they're demanding.
Oh my God, no fucking way he said this. Representative Guy Reschenthaler, who's poised to be the chief deputy whip, on what could possibly swing the 19 Jordan voters. We'll see what happens when Tucker and Sean Hannity and Ben Shapiro start beating up on these guys. Maybe that'll move it. You know what's sad about that? It probably will. God, I fucking hate this country. Oh my God, dude. Well, maybe not Ben Shapiro, but Tucker and Sean Hannity do have that level of clout. Oh my fucking God. I mean, this is a guy from inside. This is a guy from inside the fucking house basically telling you the truth, which is that Fox News has a firm grasp and full control over the Republican Party. You're going to be canceled again? Wait, why? What did I say? Oh, because I keep saying we're the worst country on the fucking planet. I mean, literally, it's a joke country, dude. We are, I mean, it is kind of European to have this kind of this level of gridlock. But we are, of course, doing it in the funniest and dumbest way possible. It amazes me that you live in a country where it's a conservative party is trying to openly on the news defund the tax inspectors, literally. Yes, dude. It's pretty standard for America to just openly despise the starving of the beast strategy from the Reagan era is at the core of being an American now. Most people look at the government, recognize how fucking awful it is, okay? And then say, fuck them, starve it. There are even leftists who also go after defund the government type strategies, wherever they talk about how much of our tax dollars get spent on the military. You know what I mean? It's for everybody. It's like a universal concept.
To offer their votes to McCarthy are things that nobody cares about.
Right.
And look, nobody calls my office and says, you have to, this is my biggest priority. You've got to get rid of Kevin McCarthy. Nobody. We had zero calls about this. There's zero emails about this. Right. So I don't know where.
That's not true. There's hella fucking calls. No, that's not even true. Kevin McCarthy, for one reason or the other, is seen as antagonistic to Donald Trump and has been identified as a fucking rhino by the psychos in the base. So that's literally not true. There's hella people that are in the base of like on the Trumpian side, on the more like extreme side of the Republican Party, that very clearly and very legitimately do not want Kevin McCarthy. That's part of the reason why these 19 holdouts are growing now. You know what I mean? That's it.
This group is getting this idea that this is important to the American people or important to the conservative movement. It is simply not. They don't even have ideological disagreements with Kevin McCarthy. This is about petty personal issues that they have or petty attempts to gain notoriety. And it's unbelievably frustrating, and they should be held accountable for it by the American people.
Nanosecond Gaming, thank you for the 10 gifted.
They're not going to vote for him on the first ballot. They're going to vote for Andy Biggs. So the big question is, Congressman, who are you hearing these renegade Republicans want to nominate, essentially, as Speaker? Who's their person?
They don't have one.
No, it's Jim Jordan. Now we know.
There's no plan.
Now we know.
There's no plan.
Right.
That's a great question. They keep acting like, you know, they keep acting like they've got somebody in the.
Republicans are removing metal detectors on day one. What was one of the first things Republicans did after taking over the House today? They removed the metal detectors in the Capitol. You can always count on the GOP to make American. Wait, I don't mind this, dude. I originally thought that this was like kind of fucking insane, but I realized like what? So they can have a little bit of the smoke themselves. Like I think this is great, straight up. Like I mean, obviously, not great for AOC and Ilhan Omar, but like. Every American has to think about the ever-present threat of gun violence in their place of work. Why can't fucking congressmen, Growing tension in the House. You guys not interested in governing? A frustrated Huzengas yells before casting his vote for McCarthy. Yeah, that's pretty funny because, like, this is literally the entire, that's it. This is what the Republican Party is. Like, yeah. There's 2 Twitch streamers there right now. Yeah, 2 Twitch streamers are talking to one another. I mean, they were never going to govern anyway. But it's, they're doing fun, cool things like this, making it easier to do gun violence.
Go rounds for Chad. We're learning the third ballot of elect by Florida. That's when Jordan, he had voted for McCarthy on those ballots. So,
first Gates and Good, now Gozar. They never talk to her. Oh my God. She's jealous, dude. Marjorie Taylor Greene is like living out her mean girl dreams. You know what I mean? Oh God, this is so good. It's so good, baby. It's so good.
Tonko, Jeffries, Torres of California, Jeffries, Torres of New York, Jeffries, Trahan, Jeffries, Trone, Jeffries, Turner.
Yes, we're gonna do DeMar Hamlin after this. Okay. Like once they, I don't know. Once they fucking find like some kind of. Oh, here on her Mean Girl shit. Let's watch this.
We have been negotiating, talking, debating back and forth in our conference, trying to come to a really good rules package, and it's amazing. As a matter of fact, I'll quote Matt Gaetz. He said it's exquisite. That's what he said on our conference call on Sunday. But in that conference meeting there, we found out that there were several members, 3 in fact, that went in last night and were demanding positions for themselves, demanding gavel positions, demanding subcommittees, demanding for people to be taken off committees and people to be put on committees. Three Republicans out of our 222. I want you all to know I have not done that for myself. The only thing I have done is debate and request and argue amongst my peers for the right things for the rules package and for our agenda for the American people. And that's the only thing I've done. I haven't asked for one thing for myself. And I'm the only Republican that has 0 committees. So you would think I would be the one in there asking for something, but I haven't done that. But I find out that it's my Freedom Caucus colleagues and my supposed friends that went and did that, and they asked nothing for me. Nothing. That's what I found out in there. I am furious. Well, let me tell you something. While the conservatives that the base supports and believes in, let me remind everyone, they're not perfect either. Scott Perry, before his general election, refused to vote against the bill that was all about the gay marriage bill. He didn't. He refused to vote against it. He voted for it. Then, when it came back around after his election, he was able to vote against it. Conservatives would not like that. Let me remind everyone this. Matt Gaetz, who has compared Kevin McCarthy to Paul Ryan, my friend Matt Gaetz, he supported Paul Ryan almost more than anyone. It's still on his social media. As a matter of fact, his first vote in Congress was for Paul Ryan as Speaker. And then he cheered him on for nearly a year and a half or more when people like me were at home furious at Paul Ryan's speakership because it wasn't passing the MAGA agenda that we all supported. Chip Roy, he refused to object on January 6th. That's not what our base wanted. He also set out the vote for the January 6th committee. There's many more. Bob Good, $2 million from Kevin McCarthy to get elected. Lauren Boebert, under $2 million from Kevin McCarthy to get elected. Ooh. Many more people have taken.
Ooh, she cooking them. She cooking them, dude.
Kevin McCarthy's money to get elected, and then there's a few of them that don't want to support him as Speaker. So imagine that. This is not anything about the country. This is all about never Kevin. They just don't like Kevin McCarthy, and you cannot be successful in anything if you aren't able to walk in a room, make what you want, and get a deal done, and then walk away with the W and get to work and not worry.
There's snakes everywhere. I hate it. I hate it. All I want is a W. This is what we want. The Republican Party deserves better than this.
Worry about who you like and who you don't like. This is not about prom king. This is not about a pastor. This is about electing a person to sit in the speaker chair so that we can all get to work. And out of 222 Republicans, let me remind everyone, there's 218 votes to get something passed. That means all of us are powerful, every single faction in the Republican Party. So there's not going to be a tiny little...
Look at her doing the work for establishment Republicans. Like, you're a goddamn rhino, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'll tell you what, I'll openly state it. You're a rhino, Republican in name only.
That is going to demand their way because they want subcommittee chairs and they want certain power positions. That is not how this works. And that is the worst thing they could do for the country.
It's the worst thing.
And I'm furious over it, and I'm going to continue calling them out.
She is so bent, dude. It's like the top of the hour is here and she's unsubscribed. You know what I mean? Just as bent. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. At the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break for those of you who don't know, okay? Now, of course, you can get mad and say, what the fuck, a 3-minute ad break? Or you can get glad. Why glad? Well, because you got gifted a sub by Graham Waters. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. You know, that's one way that you can avoid the ad break. If not, though, if you're not lucky enough, then you make your own luck by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Okay? Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Baby Splash, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
We will be fighting this out.
Travis Scat, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Santos' first day drawing by Needless Backstory. Thank you, Needless Backstory, for this wonderful drawing. Face enjoying the ring party beef. Yes, dude. I love it. Babylon B with a team kill. Babylon B repeatedly attacking the Republican Party today. Clowns debate who will be elected next king of clowns. Republicans gather in Congress to vote on who will fail the voters this time. Oh, no. Oh no. Oh yes. Oh yes. Infinite Ryman, thank you for the 5, get the subs. New York Hockey Fan, thank you for the 5, get the subs. And La 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 Keisha, thank you for the 5, get the subs as well. Top of the hour bot gave that a 6.82 out of 10. 396 chatters rated the ad segue 692 out of 10. Respect that. You know, not bad. I'll take it. We take those.
Thank you. Your help.
Why is this fucked up? The Fox News feed is like broken.
McCarthy got one.
Today, Madam Clerk, House Democrats are united.
I don't care about this. A Latino is nominating for leader of the Chamber of Black Men for the first time in our history.
With that I place the name. It is with that I place the name of my friend and colleague from Arizona, Andy Biggs, for Speaker of the House. Thank you.
Are there further nominations?
Biggs. Biggs.
Voted for himself. Respect. Boebert! Lobo, Lauren Boebert voted for Jim Jordan. McCarthy going the wrong way after the last round. What? 3 rounds done and McCarthy is going in the wrong direction? Oh, yeah, he's losing. He lost another vote. Went from 19 to 20 now.
When I arrived in Congress 2 years ago, Nancy Pelosi put this hunk of garbage outside of the House chambers for members of Congress to go through. Today, they are being removed, and we are turning Pelosi's house back into the people's house.
I actually don't understand why anyone would advocate for that. Like, legitimately. It seems such a weird thing. Like, performative, I guess, because there's like plenty of cops there anyway. Like, there's so much Capitol Police, like you can't really do anything. But it's still a weird thing to want.
Potential Speaker in waiting, Steve Scalise. He's the one who nominated Kevin McCarthy for this 3rd ballot, saying that he wants Republicans to get behind Kevin McCarthy. Nonetheless, there are now 20 House Republicans who have said they want someone for Speaker of the House other than Kevin McCarthy. And Kevin McCarthy, because of the GOP's slim majority in the House, can only afford to lose 4 votes. So he's not gaining any votes. He hasn't picked up any new votes between the first ballot and this last 3rd ballot. Instead, he's losing votes. He lost that 1 vote from Byron Donalds. So he really has his work cut out for him. And again, as we've been saying, with each of these ballots, particularly as the opposition to McCarthy grows ever so slightly, his path to the speakership gets that much harder. So we're now in that period where they're counting the votes. We have a little bit of a break between the voting. So if there's any wheeling and dealing to be done, if there's any consensus candidate to emerge, now would be the time, unless they take a break and say, let's take a stab at this later on in the night or tomorrow. But again, there's no signs of that right now. Those are the 2 kids who really withstood this entire process, and good for them. They are watching history. We have not seen this for 100 years, Kira. So kudos to them and their patience.
I'm telling you, there's a special report to fire up for extra credit when they go back to school tomorrow, because it looks like they are the last 2 remaining kids in there. I did see a baby as well, hanging in there with the pacifier. Don't see that family
If I was a kid,
anymore.
I'd be there too, Kira.
It has been 100 years since a House Speaker vote went to multiple rounds of voting, okay? And now we're on the 3rd round, 118th Congress so far. This one apparently in 1855 was wild. It went on for months. I don't know why. I mean, I get why like news media soy faces over like irrelevant shit like this. Ultimately, I think this just kind of, again, makes the Republicans look bad. 133 times they voted. So they got 100 more times to go. It's so funny how we've made so much history over the last 4+ years and how incredibly boring this is. Yeah, bro, they did January 6th happened. Like, that shit was way more fun than this, okay? Like, actually, way more fucking fun than this shit. This was a cool one. How does this end when Kevin McCarthy secures 213 votes, one more than Hakeem Jeffries? To those Republicans who suggest it is better to have Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker, you must understand this means backing policies like D.C. statehood, Puerto Rican statehood, abolishing the Electoral College, packing the Supreme Court, continued broken borders. First of all, hey, dumbass, there was a fucking majority already. You know what I mean? And it didn't work.
Even a Democratic speaker.
I gotta fucking
can tell you
grab
that
my
there
flute
is
real
no
quick.
indication right now that that's going to happen. But the other thing we hear from
It's just like look at all the good things that might happen, but like it won't happen. You want to know why? Because they already fucking said that they already had a majority and it didn't happen. So why would it happen this time around?
The House. You
so
can't
dumb.
put the rules together. So right now there are technically no rules on the House floor. You can't set up committees. You can't pass legislation. And there's a lot of day one pieces of legislation specifically that Republicans said they wanted to pass as soon as they took power. All of that is on pause right now as this battle for Speaker of the House plays out and drags on. And the more ballots that go, the more that pushes any GOP priorities further and further down the road because they've got to settle their first problem, which is who's going to lead them. And right now, Kevin McCarthy still wants that to be him. He's showing no signs of backing down, but certainly he does not have anything near the votes right now. Representative Lauren Boebert's walking by me. Representative Boebert, is there anything Kevin McCarthy could do to earn your vote? You haven't heard anything from him. Anything he could do? She said she hadn't heard anything from him. The indication she just gave me was no. Forgive me for that live moment of reporting, but there you go. One of the holdout votes saying, at least from her, there's nothing she's heard from Kevin McCarthy to work to earn her vote, and she's one of those 20 who's trying or is against Kevin McCarthy now.
I'll tell you what, Jay, if they're coming in and out of chambers there, coming off the floor and passing by, grab them. That's what we love about live TV. You're the best one to do it. So please, we would love to get comment from anybody that's been there for this third round of the Speaker vote. Also, ABC News political director Rick Klein has been watching all of this and just considering what Jay just said, Rick. I mean, this has to be an embarrassment for the GOP. I mean, they're just not on the same page here.
Yeah, this is a debacle. It's a worst-case scenario to open up what should be a day of triumph, a day of doing the easy stuff, just electing a leader after grappling with the disappointments the last couple months. This was the day where they just get to go in there.
They should bully more. Why are they bullying less? They should be bullying these motherfuckers more, I think.
With no real end in sight. And Kevin McCarthy, by the numbers that are on the screen right below me, moving in the wrong direction. The only change in a vote has been an extra vote that went against him. It could have been worse, and maybe there's some comfort in McCarthy knowing that he's got that many people strongly on his side. But for the other side, that all they need to do is hold out 5 votes to deny McCarthy the speakership. It's hard to look at what's transpired in the last couple hours and not realize that they've got at least that, if not quite a bit more. And I think the McCarthy strategy of going ahead with this vote after vote it raises a question about whether he had another plan in mind here that he hasn't hatched yet, or whether they're going to have to reassess. I'll repeat what I said earlier, which is that the possibility of a break in the action has to be appealing to some folks. I'm not sure who it's good for or bad for, though. If it leaves McCarthy twisting in the wind and the Republicans without a House Speaker, that may not be good. Testing the stamina of the other side might be part of the strategy.
Yes, the 20 holdouts are cashing for clout. Yes.
There's the possibility of a deal cut with another name involved, but it's hard to see what else Kevin McCarthy can give short of surrendering the possibility of his speakership ending at a moment's notice by giving that power to any one member to call up that vote. That's the thing he's wanted to avoid. That's what he knows would be the ultimate win for Matt Gaetz and some of the holdouts on this. It seems like a process thing, but it's an important one if it gets down to governing. But there's no scenario that's a good one here for Republicans as we enter now just an absolutely unprecedented 4th round of voting that's likely to come.
And how long is it going to last? Will we go into 5, 6, 7? Who knows? Former Republican Congresswoman for Virginia, Barbara Comstock, joining us now. A 3rd vote, now lost, no speaker yet. Is there anybody that can bring Republicans together at this point, Barbara?
Well, I think what is keeping the Kevin McCarthy Republicans together is mutual loathing of people like Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and Gosar. I mean, these are the members of Congress who are always speakers and don't get anything done. So I do think staying united against those 19, I mean, I know it's now 20, but they aren't gathering any steam either, and they don't have a plan. So I do think that, the safety in numbers, and as they just stay committed to, hey, we're going to ride this out. Now, if the members aren't sworn in yet, what I'm not sure of, I don't know technically, do they even get paid for today? What happens if you go through these days and you're not sworn in? You start talking about.
Oh no! What if they don't get paid for today? Oh no! Their $174,000 salary might be compromised.
Kevin needs to do, because at this point, for the sake of the institution, he certainly has nothing more he can bargain with these dead-enders and these anti-institutionalists. So that is, I think, what they have to keep doing.
So
unless
if you
he
were
decides and give it to somebody else and put all of his people behind some type of consensus candidate, but then you're letting those 19 when you win.
So, Barbara, if you were there right now on the floor and you were voting today, if you had a chance to talk to Kevin McCarthy, what would you tell him right now?
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, I would have, long before now, I would have not wanted him to be dealing with these people and empowering them. I mean, back in 2015 and 16 and 17 when I was there, I didn't want these people empowered. So that is the problem, that they have been empowered. So I think now is the time to stop this, the bleeding, because it is just causing, it's bad for the institution, it's bad for Republicans, and the only way to stop it is to just, draw the line and say we're not going any further and we're not going to cave to these guys.
Let's bring in former Democratic Senator from North Dakota, Heidi Heitkamp. And Heidi, it seems like, McCarthy has played all his cards. So what do you think he needs to do now?
Well, I think the card that he continues to play is, I'm going to sit here until you come my way. And, we'll see if he takes this to a fourth ballot. He lost one vote. That's not good. But it wasn't a landslide against him. And so how many people who are supporting him are now coming to him saying, it's time for you to come to a plan B? You don't see that on the floor. You see Kevin checking his cell phone to ensure he's communicating with a lot of his supporters. Who knows what's being said? But if you're him, the only control you have right now is control
There's no
over
fucking
the floor,
shot.
and he can keep people voting.
Imagine 5 people are able to successfully swing the entire Republican Party. That'd be so insane.
Watching the floor action is, it seems like the Democrats are trying to come up with a strategy. They aren't just sitting and being passive. You see the leader, Jeffries, talking to his staff, talking to other members, talking to Jim Claiborne. We'll see if something comes from that. But what I would expect is what McCarthy will do is simply sit in that chair, take another vote, see if they nominate someone else. You can say, look, you already lost, but you know who the big loser is? It's Jim Jordan. He's gotten 20 votes. And I would, just to put this in perspective, it would be like 6 Democrats on the Senate side selecting the majority leader. That the anomaly here is the Speaker of the House is that the leadership is voted by
Look
the
at when he
entire
called this,
body,
November
not just your
22nd.
caucus. But if this were a caucus vote, clearly Leader McConnell would be the Speaker of the House. And so, he's got time on his side. He can sit there and just keep taking these votes and frustrate the other side. They also have time on their side. So the question is, when does it break? Who blinks first, and who comes across the table to talk first?
And what do you think, Heidi, of this tweet that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene put out, and also told R.J. O'Brien that this is, Republicans playing Russian roulette with their hard-earned Republican majority right?
Well, number one, first impressions are everything. This is the first impression of House leadership. It's not good. The public is watching this saying they can't even agree among themselves. And so she's not wrong. I think there's a tendency to always be a little overly dramatic on one day's events. This may look different in a week, but I think at this point, first impressions matter. And the first impressions of the new House leadership is not very good in the American public's eye.
Yeah, I mean, the question is if indeed this, Kevin McCarthy battles this out, he ends up who knows, going to 4th, 5th, 6th, we don't know how many votes, right? But does win, kind of like the last person standing here.
They brought
you know,
Steve
then the question
Kornacki on?
is, how's he going to hold the party together? I mean, we've already talked about the fact that you said he's already not respected. He may be a nice guy and well-liked by people, not respected. A lot of members using the word embarrassment, this whole scene today. It just seems like he's going to just continue to have an even more difficult time leading, inspiring, moving forward.
Well, I think, you know, and I've said this already during the last 4 hours that we've been talking. I think him standing firm actually wins him some points. I think him not capitulating, not compromising, as Barbara was saying, you know, not letting that small minority of his caucus win. I think that helps build. If he can come out of this victorious, I think that. You know, he has a better position than if he had won by 1 on the first ballot and had agreed to a rules change that would allow him to be taken out by the vote of just one person, bringing it to the floor.
Rick, what do you think?
I think he's going to have to reassess his options in a big way. We just heard from Congressman Donalds, the one who has now flipped sides, the only change in votes. He is now calling for a recess and a huddle to re-strategize. Look, McCarthy's going to have to pull something out right now. You can't just keep doing the same thing and expect you're going to have a different outcome. These 19, now 20 holdouts are not going anywhere. And keep in mind, they only have to have 5. It's not a fair fight if the other side is only trying to deny something. So they have leverage in these negotiations. McCarthy's trying to pretend as if that didn't exist, going ahead, trying to keep his folks on task as much as possible. But he has to acknowledge this reality, or you're going to see more frustration grow in Republican ranks. If he's able to survive this, I think Senator Heitkamp is right. He might be stronger for the experience, but I do not see a path right now. And frankly, I'm surprised. I thought there would be more of a crack among those 19 and now 20 holdouts.
But the people wondering why won't they try to flip votes to Hakeem Jeffries? No Republican will vote for a fucking Democrat. It is infinitely more likely that a Democrat could potentially vote for a Republican for Speaker of the House, but no Republicans doing that.
Around just one member being able to essentially have a vote of no confidence and oust him with a simple majority vote. That's out there for the taking, but do you want a speakership where that exists? McCarthy's answer to that has been no. He called out the members who've asked for it, saying they've been selfish on this, calling him out for trying to work with Democrats. McCarthy has tried to play the confident hand in this, that he's got this, but 5 hours plus now of voting with no resolution doesn't do a lot to fuel confidence, and it's about more than a bad first impression. This is going to be an extremely difficult Republican majority to govern, with this very narrow majority and an empowered small band of members who might feel like they've got the opportunity to block him at any turn.
So how much longer, Rick, will the House stay in session today? Could they stay in session today?
Like, if you think that any Republican on the planet is going to vote for a black dude from New York who was Nancy Pelosi's handpicked candidate for Speaker of the House, you have to be out of your mind, okay? There is they wouldn't even vote for someone like Henry Cuellar, right? But they definitely aren't going to vote for a guy who's, again, black from New York and is Nancy Pelosi's main guy. No shot.
You feel like you've got some momentum on your side, and you go from 19 to 20, maybe you can get that up to 21, 22 to really send a message. I don't know who wants it right now, who wants to call that timeout.
You don't got it, right? At what point does that reality check happen? Because McCarthy, to this point, has seemed extremely dug in. The people opposing him have seemed extremely dug in. Well, that's a recipe for yet another stalemate.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem, Hallie, because Kevin McCarthy has been so insistent that he was going to see this through until the very end that they're really...
My man said Cuellar. Wait, what is it? How do you say Henry? Wait, what? I said it right. What the fuck? Queller! Is that what you want me to say? Henry Cuellar! I said it right, and you still fucking made fun of me. What is wrong with you, man? Chat's so weird. Henry Queller, brother. That's how you say it. God damn it. He's in Texas, not Mexico.
Even a small crack for them to wiggle through to open up for them to take the speakership. So, this idea that if Kevin McCarthy doesn't want to do it, Steve Scalise just raises his hand, that automatically there's going to be 218 votes. That potentially could happen, but no one's done that vote count yet. We don't know for sure if that would happen. And we spend a lot of time talking about, the 5 dissenting conservative Republicans, and we don't spend as much time talking about the much larger universe of governing Republicans that actually want to get something done. Maybe Steve Scalise has enough of those that would vote for him, but there are quite a few people that are very loyal to Kevin McCarthy. So that it's not as if there's a white knight ready to ride in here and solve all these problems for Republicans. They've still had a lot of work to do to get to that point.
And just so people know, they're going to keep doing this. They're going to keep voting until a speaker is named, right? So, like we say, the banner on our screen says he appears to lose the 3rd vote. We could say appears was 4th vote, 5th vote. Like, who knows how many votes it could take at this point? And it does speak more broadly here, Ryan, to the issue that we are seeing play out, which is this is the Republican Civil War in some ways writ large, right? Because Kevin McCarthy is a loyalist to former President Donald Trump. So are the people who are opposing him. So this isn't like establishment Republicans versus like MAGA Republicans. These are all the same, ideologically aligned in some ways, right? I mean, some are more conservative than others, but they're all sort of Trump Republicans that we're talking about here.
Yep.
And the reason why this is so difficult for Kevin McCarthy is you go back to the midterms, right? If more Republicans had gone up in races who were considered to be electable and appealed more to a broader swath of voters, Kevin McCarthy would have a bigger majority and he wouldn't have to worry about this stuff. I mean, this all goes back to sort of the Trump of it all, if you will.
Yeah, and if you think this is ugly, Hallie, at some point they're going to get through this, but it's setting the stage for the next 2 years. Imagine this fight over picking something as simple as the next Speaker of the House and insert the debt ceiling, insert a running out of government funding, and just kind of envision what that would look like when you have a hardline group of Republicans that are willing to essentially just blow the whole thing up in favor of their needs. This could be like what this Republican conference looks like for the next 2 years.
Ryan at Nobles, thank you very much. I know you're standing by, ready to bring us updates throughout the evening. We appreciate it. There's more going on today than just the fight for Speaker. Coming up in the breakdown and a little bit later on in the show, we'll look at the diverse group of lawmakers who will serve when the new Congress.
It is unclear as to what that means, but there's conversations about adjourning. How long does that adjournment last? How long is that break for?
They're just basically going to adjourn. That's it. Like, if this doesn't get resolved.
I should say the lack thereof, because until you elect a speaker, technically there are no rules in the House. You have to pick a date and time to adjourn to. You can't just adjourn and say, we'll come back when we all want to. You have to say, the House is adjourned until this date at this time. So if there is some kind of a break that lawmakers take, we will know when they're coming back, and that will put lawmakers on the clock. It will put McCarthy's team on the clock. It will put the Never McCarthy group on the clock, because they've got to either whip votes, get people on board with them, or at least in the case of the Never McCarthy group, stay together for however long that break is and not bend or break and not get in anybody else's boat, stay in your boat in order to withstand anything that might come in the next few hours. To the new members, this is a long process, and this is a day of typical celebration. You bring your family, you're sworn into Congress. Voting for Speaker is pro forma. It's par for the course. Everybody usually knows who's going to be the next Speaker of the House.
Well, Republicans have shown already in January 6th that, like, they love disrupting symbolic events and making a big political show of it. So not today.
Looking who your next Speaker of the House is going to be, but also they are watching history play out with their very own eyes as the clerk prepares here. It appears to read the results of the 3rd vote, Kira.
Let's listen in.
Wow, thank you. This is great. I'm glad we're listening in.
Does start to speak again, Jay. We'll take it, of course, to hear kind of the final vote tally on the 3rd Speaker vote there, that Kevin McCarthy still did not win, which means it's going to go into a fourth round. And of course, we're waiting to see if
Let's
they're
go!
going to vote to adjourn, and then you'd have to set a date on when to come back. But Jay, I mean, that begs the question: if you can't come to a consensus on who to vote for Speaker, how are you going to come together right now to vote on an adjournment and then set a date for when they're going to come back and try this again?
And that's the exact issue that
the amount of legislation that is truly like life-changing that gets passed or is pushed aside specifically because of like legislator personal schedules, holiday travel, is mind-boggling. So they're wrong. If they adjourn right now, they will immediately find unity on exactly when to, restart Congress. They fucking love this shit, bro. This is what they live for. They're so good at like not doing their fucking job. But at least the Democrats are dead set against adjourning to help the GOP. That's fucking awesome. Love that. Don't do it. Stay strong, brothers. Okay, stay strong.
Noon today when the House started voting. He hasn't convinced anyone that wasn't for him to be for him. He's only lost one lawmaker, Byron Donalds, and now you've got 20 Republicans saying that they do not want to back Kevin McCarthy. Is there anything that he can offer to change the calculus here? As I've been saying,
Darvin Ham says his plan is to keep leading on LeBron James. I just want to ride him.
One of them told me as early as last night that they didn't believe there was any concession
What's wrong with
McCarthy
that?
could make.
There's nothing wrong. I want to ride him. What?
Never McCarthy lawmakers. So the proof will
I'd
be
say
in
the
the
same
next
thing.
few hours, because we are getting to that point here where you are really putting the strains on this process, because again, you have not seen lawmakers confront something like this for more than 100 years. And as I'm speaking, by the way, and they just cut away from it on the House feed, but Matt Gaetz is speaking with members on the floor, so you're seeing
yes, dude, I am La Dick Ryder, okay? I don't care.
Members. There is Matt Gaetz on the House floor. So you're seeing that.
Stop labating.
Kevin McCarthy, I can tell you from watching him firsthand, is a master of working the floor of the House of Representatives. When you sit in the gallery of the House and you watch Kevin McCarthy, every time you look up and look back at Kevin McCarthy, he's talking to a new member. So he knows how to work the floor. He knows how to work votes in his favor and try to push votes towards the direction that he wants. But the question that he's confronting now is there enough that he can do to push those votes in his direction? Is that talent that he has to whip votes enough? Or is the rubber going to meet the road at some point here? Is he going to, mix my metaphors here, but is he going to run out of road here and eventually have to give in, Kira?
Well, Heidi, what do you think? How can Dems help Republicans here?
Well, I mean, I think that they're tired, and they had parties planned for their swearing in, and they are concerned that they're starting to look very, very bad. And so we'll see. And I would remind you that the Democrats could vote for a motion to adjourn. So that would be I think that's what the Democrats are probably talking about, whether they would support a motion to adjourn if it's made.
By the way, this is literally like forced to vote, which was like advocated for by Jimmy Dore and everyone else. And as you can tell, like the conclusion in this circumstance is going to be meaningless because ultimately it doesn't matter. Like whoever becomes speaker is still going to do the same bullshit. And the Republicans are not going to vote for a Democrat. Let's be real. But they are infinitely more likely to get votes from a Democratic, like corporate Democrat. Now, this is a war of attrition here. One thing you got to think of is let's say enough Republicans leave.
Kevin McCarthy,
you could get Hakeem Jeffries as speaker.
Has received 202. The Honorable Jim Jordan of the state of Ohio has received 20. No person having received the majority of the whole number of votes cast by surname, a speaker has not been elected. For what purpose does the gentleman from Oklahoma rise?
Move to adjourn until noon tomorrow.
Question is on the motion.
The question is on the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
All those in favor say aye.
All those opposed, no.
All those opposed, no.
What?
The ayes have it.
Motion is adopted.
The motion is adopted.
Dude,
The
Democrats
House
are so
stands adjourned
stupid!
until noon tomorrow.
Okay, Jay O'Brien, there you have it. I was
Boo! The Democrats are so fucking useless. They're so fucking stupid.
But you heard everybody say tomorrow noon, yes. Only one person saying no. They're all going after that person saying, are you crazy?
I hate these motherfuckers so much. They're the laziest pieces of shit on the fucking planet, dude.
And if you think bipartisanship is dead, just listen to that vote where everybody said, yes, we want to go home. Because it's been 5.5 hours now since the new Congress began, and they are now adjourning. The sun will set on Washington, D.C. tonight. A new day will begin, and there will not be a Speaker of the House. I have to look back at my records, but I don't even think in 1923 it lasted more than one day. Again, do not quote me on that. I have to check that out. I know the longest one was in the 1850s. That lasted.
Nobody wants to work anymore, dude. Nobody wants to fucking work anymore. I mean, this is crazy. These lazy fucks, dude. These old pieces of shit. Are you fucking joking? Like, you're really gonna... That's it? 5.5 hours? Bitch, that's a half day for me.
Certainly will. Is there some kind of plan that emerges from McCarthy and his team to work together?
One of the chat said they're quiet quitting. Yeah, Democrats are quiet quitting, dude.
McCarthy to change their minds. He can only afford to lose 4 votes.
Yo, this shit is actually super whack, though.
Or 20 Republicans, rather, so they don't want him to be the Speaker of the House. And the Never McCarthy group has said to me in the past, prior to this vote, as they were talking about their plans, that their biggest position in all of this is what's called, quote-unquote, pain resistance, meaning they believe that when there is an adjournment, again, they were speaking in the future tense because they were making their plans weeks ago, they believed that when there was an adjournment, they would be subject to a lot of pressure from McCarthy, from Republican leaders, even perhaps from former President Trump, who has been both publicly and privately supporting McCarthy for Speaker. So you can expect that pressure campaign, if it exists, to churn up overnight and to put the pressure on some of those lawmakers resisting Kevin McCarthy if it does emerge that Kevin McCarthy is going to stay in this fight and still try to be Speaker of the House. So this is going to be a quiet night for those who are watching the House floor. There's going to be nothing going on there. But if you're a member of Congress or a member of the press or interested in this process, this is going to be a very active night where we try to figure out by noon tomorrow, is there some kind of consensus pick for Speaker of the House amongst the Republicans? Or Kevin McCarthy, can he pull this out, Kira?
So, Heidi, what does Kevin McCarthy do between now and noon tomorrow?
Well, the first thing he has to do if he intends to stay in this is shore up his 202 votes and make sure they're going to stay with them. And so, you know, I think that he believed he was probably running the risk, given fatigue, that he would lose another 2-3 votes. That erosion would really hurt him. And
the saddest part about this is the fact that Democrats just fucking absolutely, you know, threw the towel so quick. I mean, I hate them for doing that. Run the clock out. Every fucking second in this circumstance is making the Republicans look worse. But also, on top of that, like, you have the Republican Party basically expecting Tucker Carlson to whip the votes for them. Like, that's why they wanted to adjourn. They wanted to adjourn because they're fucking tired. But they also wanted to adjourn because they want Trump to make phone calls. They want Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity to bully them publicly and force them into submission. That's literally why they did this, which is crazy.
So, Barbara, the next multi-million-dollar question is, can Republicans get their ducks in a row by noon tomorrow?
Well, I think you're going to see probably Jim Jordan on Fox News tonight, probably saying, listen, I don't want this. I support Kevin McCarthy. And he's going to be saying those 20 votes for him need to be supporting Kevin McCarthy, and he'll go hard on that. I think Fox News has been, you've had people like Mark Levin, a pretty hardcore Trumpy person attacking these guys, calling them knuckleheads and other names that Mark Levin is known to do, attacking these, Matt Gaetzes and Lauren Boeberts for not supporting McCarthy. So, I think that's going to be ratcheted up. They've got to, I think, since these guys are the people who like to go on TV, they're performance artists, the place to hit them the hardest is, from the media standpoint. And that's where I think they're probably going to get hit tonight.
For this terrible
get the phone calls going into them. There's nothing really to do.
Bro, they're not talking about it.
Jim Jordan can tell them to.
Fox News is not even talking about it. And by the way, she's saying exactly what I said. She's like, they're waiting. They're waiting for Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity to whip them, dude. I hope they don't.
I would never vote for a Freedom Caucus member. And certainly, Jim Jordan's strength has been that he's been supporting Kevin McCarthy, not because he's a Freedom Caucus member.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Jay, Heidi, Barbara, thank you all.
All right,
so
we got
much.
a lot of
Make
news
sure
to
you get a
cover,
good
folks.
night's sleep
Okay,
tonight. Hydrate.
we're gonna fucking move on from